Well, firstly, let me say thank you for inviting me to be on your podcast. I think what you're doing is great, and I
Yeah,
love the concept and the idea, and I think it's going to help many people
thank you.
because I think there's so much wisdom that we gain as we get older that you're right. What could we say to our younger selves, and can we share that with other people out there so that they get to learn from the lessons that we've learned? So I love that.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you so much for being a part of it. And you know what makes this podcast so special are the people who come on and they share what they would say to their younger selves. And that's really what helps. And I'm so glad to be able to have this platform and have this kind of medium that people can share.
Sure, sure. Well, I'm Natalie Woodman, and I have a background in physiotherapy. I've been a physiotherapist for 24 years, and I also moved into transformational coaching, where I help women learn to reconnect with their bodies so that they can, once they know how to connect with themselves, they also know how to access the innate and the sacred wisdom that we have within our bodies that is available, but we may not necessarily know how to access it, or we choose not to listen to it. So that's what I help women do. And then from that empowered state of, connecting with their bodies, knowing how to tap into that innate wisdom, so much more is possible.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's incredible. That's so
Thank you.
powerful. What are some of the ways that you do that? You can do kind of a small crash course. I'm sure it's a lot more complex than we have time for.
So there are many different ways that we can connect with our bodies. I think what's firstly most important is the ability to feel. And I think after some life events or certain circumstances, people might not want to feel because it's too painful. And then that becomes sort of the norm that, or they might be more focused on and driven from a head space rather than a heart space. So,
Mm.
as an entrepreneur or as someone who runs a business, I know that that was just something that I fell into as well. The critical mind, and being run by certain programming where you allow sort of your head to lead the way instead of connecting from your heart and allowing your body to lead the way. So for many people, it's just helping them to be able to tap back into how to connect into the heart and that it is safe to feel. Um,
Definitely.
and so, we do that in a number of different ways in the programs that I run with women. But we just ran a gratitude body challenge, and that's one of the most important things, right? Is what can we be grateful for? And when you're connecting with your own body, it's like, when you connect with your own body, it is, where is my attention? What am I willing to listen to? What messages is my body giving me? Am I listening to them or am I ignoring them? um and just having that awareness is sometimes where we start, or sometimes we start at the basics with a lot of people, of getting them to reconnect with their bodies in a meaningful way, and in a way that's gentle and loving and kind and nurturing.
Definitely. Yeah, that is very powerful. And I think that being desensitized to feeling and not wanting to feel is pretty prevalent, I think, in kind of this generation and kind of my age group. It's
Okay.
kind of normal just based on kind of where we are. I've seen a lot more of my friends struggle with, wanting to be open about their feelings and connecting with those. So I think that's really important and really powerful what you do.
Thank you. Thank you. I think, gosh, if your heart is speaking to you, and your head says, oh no, it's not safe to say that. I think
Hmm.
that we all have that inner power struggle going on at any stage, I think, but there comes a point where we we choose which voice we want to listen to. Do you want to listen to the critic in the head, or do you want to listen to your heart and the wisdom that's in your body, your intuition, your guidance, your knowing. And so part of the work that I do is to help women connect to their hearts, connect to that inner wisdom, so that, we can shut off that, the critic in the brain, the one, that little voice that's always there. And we can go, actually, no, you no longer get to be in the driver's seat. I am in the driver's seat. You get to be in the passenger seat from now on.
Yeah.
But I think growing up, that was something that was really hard for me. I was always worried about what are others going to think, how am I going to come across, am I going to be judged if I say this thing? But I think, there came a point where I just couldn't keep any of that suppressed any longer.
Yeah.
And what I found was that actually, not speaking my truth, feeling or internalizing the judgment or the rejection or the shame, that actually has a really negative effect on your health, on your
Yeah.
body, on your body's ability to heal. So my own journey with my body over the past 18 years, my body's been my roadmap. And as a physio, I am a body specialist. So I've worked with the body for many years. And, the body has been the biggest teacher for me. It's been my biggest teacher through watching other people, but also through my own journey with my body. And part of the healing was shifting the mindset, the awareness, but also working on the emotional aspects of things.
Mm.
And really allowing myself to feel, to connecting with my heart, and to really speak my truth, and to
Definitely.
allow myself to be vulnerable. And,
Yeah.
We don't have to be liked by everyone. And it's
Yeah.
okay if we don't, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Especially with social media, it's really easy to get swayed up and like, oh, will I get enough likes? Will I get enough interaction and comments?
Yeah.
Will people like this post or should I do this one? And I've definitely been guilty of it. And I remember there was a specific time in my life where I only focused on comparing myself to others. And
Yeah.
it was so terrible. It was a really hard few months. I remember it was really hard for me. And then I don't know what happened, but I remember thinking, I'm not going to get any better if I keep comparing myself. And it's making me miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And it is hurting so many of my friendships and my relationships and what I'm doing. And I can't keep going on like this because I'm never going to get better. I'm going to be stuck for the rest of my life. And I don't want that.
Yeah.
And when I kind of had that mindset shift, everything in my life changed. And nothing like was cured because I did some things, maybe like I cut some people off that I didn't need to and etc. But it's been a few years since that huge shift happened in my life. And I can't imagine ever going back to a life of constantly comparing myself to others.
Yeah.
And when I see people who might be more successful than me or might be better looking than me, I don't feel this kind of like I have to be them. It's more of I'm glad that they're happy and I'm happy in my own way. And I think when you have that shift, worlds change.
Oh, doesn't it just? It is incredible. I think
Yeah.
society has created an environment that's not really healthy.
Yeah.
Social media can have quite a negative impact on
Yeah.
someone's mental health and well-being, I think, in a number of different ways. But I think how we choose to show up and share ourselves in the world, whether that's, part of us versus all of us, or whether that is from a mindset of, oh, what am I doing versus what are you doing over there? Or, that comparison, that doesn't help us to be the best versions of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And when we can show up in the best versions of ourselves, I firmly believe that what we have to share is amazing and is of value. And only you can share what you have to offer, because everything is unique to each and every one of us. All our gifts are unique. And so the flavor of what each of us has to offer and share is what makes this so magical and is what makes it so amazing. So I think the more we can come from that place of this is who I am, this is my truth, and this is what I am here to share, I think the world will be a better place.
Definitely, yeah. Because I think social media is a great tool to connect with people.
Mm-hmm.
And, that instant gratification of like liking a post the minute you
Yeah.
post is just, it's kind of warped a lot of our perception on how people see us.
Mm-hmm.
And when you kind of let go of like, hey, I'm only here to have fun on social media and talk with my friends and sometimes post pictures of me having fun, when you kind of step back and realize, hey, this is all it really has to be, because that's what it was like, quote unquote, designed for. It's not designed for us to constantly compare and go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
It's just so much more fun on there.
Yeah. And I think the more secure we become within ourselves, the more
Mm-hmm.
we know, like, trust, love,
Yes.
who we are. And the more we heal our relationships with ourselves, let go of the judgment, the shame, trauma that we've experienced in the past, we get to be and show up in a totally different way.
Yeah.
And then what we have to offer is different. So I also think that you then have this authenticity that no one can take away from you. You've got this connection with your own body, with your heart, with your gut knowing, your intuition, and that gets to be the driver, right? You then
Yeah.
get to trust yourself and you don't doubt your decisions that you make, which means that you don't rely on other people's opinions so much, because you know in your heart what's true and you know in your heart what is best for you.
Exactly.
And I remember as a teenager and as a young adult doubting my decisions on so many occasions, and the amount of energy that takes, oh my goodness, it's insane.
Yeah.
um, and then to get to the point of I love who I am, and if I can love myself, this version of myself, then that relationship is the most important relationship.
Definitely.
And everything else that follows and flows from there is going to be great. And I think there are so many people who sometimes like to shame others.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what I had to learn, that wasn't a reflection of me, but that was a reflection of the hurt and the
Mm-hmm.
trauma within them.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
that was a big one that I had to kind of sit with. But it also meant that it was therefore easier to heal the shame and the trauma or even the judgment that I had within me.
Of course, yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. You shared some powerful advice, and it's been such a lovely conversation, kind of going back and forth, talking about letting go of all that comparison we have within us and letting go of that insecurity and just kind of being comfortable with who we are, because we are who we are and we're going to be stuck with ourselves for the rest of our lives. So you might as well enjoy the ride.
And you might
So,
as well love the body that you're in, and you might as well love
exactly.
yourself, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for taking a few minutes and talking about this with me. I really appreciate it. Where can people
Pleasure.
find you? I know you mentioned a Facebook group and something and a website.
So yes, my website is www.bynataliewoodman.com, and on my website there's a link and you can access our free Facebook group for women. It's called Sacred Body Alchemy, if you want to find us on Facebook. And then on Instagram and on Facebook, you can find me at By Natalie Woodman.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day and sharing it with me. I really appreciate it. It's been so lovely.
Thank you for having me. And it has been wonderful having this conversation and looking back. I think it's a wonderful concept.
Thank
And
you.
I think there's so much that can be gleaned from the conversations or even just this topic. So thank
Definitely.
you.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of it.
It's a pleasure. Take care.
Bye.